Make it happen.
Can you grab me a packet?
Yes. Did you sign in? Okay. Then yes, I can.
So, my friends, it's 12:30. We had an appointment at 12:30. Who's ready to get started?
Let's do it.
Woo! All right, we got about 3 people who are ready to get started. The rest of you just let me know when you're ready to get rocking, okay? We good?
Born ready.
All right, born ready. So what brings you all into this class today? Let me ask you that.
Business planning clinic.
Oh boy, is that the right answer? That is the right answer. My friends, we normally hold this class in October. And let me give you a little clue. This is normally a 7-hour class. You all want to hang out with me for 7 hours?
Sure.
Well,
I don't
we
mind.
have 1.5. We've got 1.5 hours to make this happen. So you guys ready to put on your big boy shorts?
Yes.
Giddy up, let's get going.
Yeah.
You ready?
Okay, yes.
All right, so let's all open up our packets to the front. First page. Wait a second, why is this bad boy not clicking with me? See, this my.
You know what? It works for everybody but you.
Yeah, I was gonna say I'm ready to get going. My PowerPoint is not.
There you go now.
All right, so here's what we're going to do today. We're going to build out your blueprint for success, and we're going to follow this course map.
Yes.
The goal today is for you guys to think big. Hey, what's going on, latecomers? Good to see y'all. Tell you what, here we go. We've got a couple of packets for you right there,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and let's get you signed in.
I'll grab one of these.
Aki. Thank you, my friends. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. So our goal is to think big. How many of you are okay with thinking big today?
Boom.
Okay, good. That is what we need, because when you are thinking small, you're going to have small results. So we're going to take big steps. So the first step is to think a million. What does think a million mean?
Think big, think $1 million.
Think $1 million. In this class, my friends, thinking $1 million means a real estate agent that nets $1 million, not gross commission income. At the end of the day, before April 15th comes and the tax man takes the money, before that, all that money is in the agent's pocket. $1 million. That's how we're going to think. You guys okay with that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, do all of you think that's possible? Let me start with that.
Yes.
Okay. What Derek Keller says is that on average, what he sees when people are working in focused action, 10 years is the amount of time that one can go from when they start the real estate career to hitting $1 million in net revenue. Can you do it in 1 year?
Possibly.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, good. So
Yeah.
some of us may need to think bigger. Is it possible? Yes. It is possible. Would it be a feat of nature? Yes. So don't be disappointed when you don't hit that goal. We're merely thinking big and getting ourselves in the right mindset. You guys go with that?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Here's what we know. What color y'all want to use? Red, blue, or
Blue,
black?
blue.
I'm
Yes.
good with blue. Someone said red. We do not like talking about red during a business planning clinic. Why is that?
Red is negative.
Red is negative. Blue, baby. We'll operate with this. Here's what we know. Ooh. Ooh. That's called a bell curve. You guys familiar with the bell curve?
Yes.
All day.
Here's what we know. Majority of people live right smack in the middle here. What do you think that A stands for? Average. Most people live in average. In fact, 95% of people spend their entire life right there. All right. Can things still be okay in average?
Oh yeah. Oh,
By
yeah.
definition, things are okay in average. And yet we know that there's about 2.5% that live over here and 2.5% that live over here. So I'm going to put an F over here. Who knows what's on this side?
Fail.
Failure. Okay? And then over here, I'm just going to write it down. This is achievement. Now, what we know, guys, is that sometimes you might have to live a little bit in here.
Right.
A little bit. Sometimes you're going to failure in order to piggyback and jump over to achievement. So don't get yourself stuck in a place when you're saying, no, Coach James, I don't want to take any chances because I don't want to do this. I don't want to fail. And yet sometimes you have to take big chances. Take big, bold steps so that you can move yourself towards achievement. Yeah, what's up, brother?
Are you saying embrace the failure?
Embrace the failure. What we say in bold, and by the way, I'm also a bold coach. I'm here in the Market Center as an agent who runs a team. I also travel around the country bringing a 7-step process on coaching and mindset to get people towards achievement. And what we say is failure is okay. Okay? Failure is okay. You have to take some steps. Don't get attached to the outcome. If you're afraid to make big steps to think big, you're going to get stuck in living in average. Good?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, let's keep on trucking. So, a stable foundation. What we know is that you have to live in a place where models are the key. Models are the key. Here in Keller Williams, we have a book. Anybody know what that big red book is?
The one that.
MREA. Boy, do we have a smart class in here. That is our model. That is our model that we're going to be following today in every step of the way. And then sometimes we are able to add a little, just sprinkle just a little pixie dust of creativity on top of what we're doing. What happens is so many times people get into real estate and they focus on building on their creative side. People say, man, I want to create my own business here and I'm going to make it on my own. And yet we know when you do that, you're going to be more often living over here and not taking the steps to get over to that side. Right? So follow the models that will get you to a successful big place. Any of you familiar with really big, deep snow? Deep snow.
I'm familiar
Yep.
with it.
Okay, I lived in Green Bay, Wisconsin for years. Deep
You know snow.
snow. Like I was about yay high and the snow came up to about yay. So you would have to trudge through and follow the path of people who walked before you. Or else you were just fighting through that snow every step of the day. Follow the path of somebody who's already trudged that trail for you. That's what following the models are. That's how you're going to be in a really successful place. We good so far?
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's keep truck-a-lucking. So we call this breaking through from E to P, entrepreneurial to purposeful. We know that at any stage in your business, you're going to start down here. We're on page 4, by the way. We start with our natural ability, and we set a goal, and maybe we hit that goal, or maybe we just come short of that goal. If we consistently find ourselves coming short of that natural achievement ceiling, we know we have to have some level of breakthrough. Some level of breakthrough. Sometimes you are going to find yourself crying in a corner, like shaking, because you are not able to get through. And we call that what?
Failure.
Yes, that's a failure. Sometimes you have to have a breakdown where you just say, what am I doing wrong? Before you can have that breakthrough and move to the next level. Usually this comes in the place of adding in a system, model, or tool along the path. So anytime you're saying, gosh, why can't I break through? What are you missing right here? And this keeps on moving. You'll find another natural ceiling once you've implemented that next model, and then boom, you hit your ceiling. What's your breakthrough? Every step of the way, it is constant and never-ending improvement. Just getting better every step of the way. All right? So you have to fail sometimes in order to have that breakthrough. So pop quiz. We just talked about this. In that 6 personal perspectives, that picture I just showed up. Which one of these models is it? Was it being learning-based, moving from E to P, or committing to the 80-20 principle, or being accountable?
E to P.
Katie, you got something?
Number 2.
E to P.
Okay.
Oh boy, are you smart.
Thank you.
We have a smart room that is paying attention. Pat yourselves on the back. Congratulations, my friends. We're moving in the right direction. We're going to start with the end in mind. We're going to set a big goal along the path. We are still on page 4. If you were to set a goal, any of you mountain climbers in here? Any of you know of mountain climbing? Have any of you heard of mountain climbing before? Okay, good. There are people that see these giant rocks and they say, I think I can climb that. And they set a goal to make it happen. What we find is that sometimes if you set your goal to be Mount Whitney, and yet you see way down the way, you see the biggest peak in the world, and you say, I'm going to target Mount Everest. What you do is you set your systems and models in place to master climbing Everest, so that makes it so easy to climb Whitney. All right? Set the models early so that you just get sharper as you go. Because if you try to recreate it, if you have Mount Whitney habits on Everest, what's going to happen?
Ooh, you died.
You dead. You dead.
Yeah.
So get yourself into a place where you are thinking big and thinking differently. All right. What are the people, and in real estate, what are the people who are making millions of dollars? What are their habits? What are they doing every single day to generate different results than what I'm getting? So think differently every step of the way. Guys, thanks for coming in. Please check in at the front, grab one of these brochures. We are on page 4 and moving at breakneck speed. All right? So we know that there are 7 myth understandings. 7 myth understandings. People who create stories in their head about what's keeping them from achieving that which they want in the world. So who wants to talk about the 7 myth understandings? Okay, let's skip them all. Okay, wait, Jill wants to hear them. So let's talk through it. Number 1, people say, I can't do it. I can't do it. By the way, if you think you can or you think you can't,
Either way, you're right.
you're right. Either way.
Yep.
So when you set yourself with the mindset of I can't do it, congratulations, you're right on the money. You cannot achieve it. So think differently. All of you have the same potential in this room. All of you have the same potential in you that Gary Keller has. All of you have the same potential that James Farren has. All of you have the same potential that Jonathan Ledecky has. So find out what it is and push. Push yourself to achievement. We all have the same number of seconds, minutes, and hours in our day. The only thing that separates those from those who don't is that those who achieve, they just take out the interference. They take out their interference in the world. So take out the I can'ts in your life. Don't limit your dreams. Avoid self-defeating dialogue. Please don't let your voice tell you anything that you can or can't do. All right? You have a voice in your head that will consistently say, you're just not smart enough. You're not good enough. You just squash that bug and keep on moving. Keep on moving. Truth, it can't be done in my market. Tell you what, guys, if it can't be done in Atlanta, it just can't be done. You can do anything you want in this market. There are people who live in markets where the average sales price is under $100,000. And there are people who are making $2.5 million in GCI plus in those markets. So don't limit yourself to think that, well, gosh, it just can't happen here. No excuses on this bus. It would take too much time and effort. Okay. Like I said, we all have the same amount of time. What do we choose to do with it? Maybe you're too busy playing Angry Birds, and that's why you don't have time to get things done. Right? What's that, Katie? Guilty?
Candy Crush.
Candy Crush, my mistake. I'm dating myself. Angry Birds, what's that?
Oh, no, you're right.
Okay, good. We're still
I
on the
have
right.
that one too.
You got the new Angry Bird.
So think of things differently. Think of your time and effort in a different way. Let's see. Add leverage to the progress. So whenever you're feeling like there's no time, Richard, what did you just do in your business?
Just hired an assistant.
Just hired an amazing assistant. Give him a round of applause. So when you are in a place where you're saying, gosh, I can't do everything by myself, you're probably right. Let's just find that system or model to implement and put into place. Okay, we good?
Yeah.
All right. It's too risky. I'll lose money. Oh, okay. Guys, if you hire people without having a business plan, it's very risky. And we're going to talk about that later. We're going to talk about a plan to put in effect so that you limit those risks. However, sometimes it takes money to do what?
Make money.
To make money. So put yourself in a place where you're not just limiting yourself. We're going to talk about red light, green light in a bit. Let's see, don't pay for a second of anything until you're sure the first one is producing great results. That is a great tip. Tell you what, if you take nothing away from this class, write down avoid shiny objects. Write it in your book right now. I swear I will avoid shiny objects. Because as real estate agents, we are inundated with opportunities to buy shiny objects. People who say, ooh, I'm just going to make leads fall from the heavens and land in your lap. I've got the perfect system that is going to just produce millions and millions and millions of dollars of results. I'm not saying to not make investments in your business. I'm saying don't be susceptible to buying every single little thing that's out there. Do salespeople love salespeople?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, baby, I love a good sales pitch. So when I go to Mega Agent Camp or Family Reunion, what's the first thing that they have when you walk into the hall? Anybody know? A room full of salespeople trying to sell me stuff. So be in a place where you look at things and say, I'm going to make smart decisions for my business. Okay, we good? Okay, let's keep going. My clients will only work with me. Okay, how many of you are single agents in this room? Okay. Are there any people who have a team or are thinking of growing a team? Okay, we are going to focus the majority of this class on you as single agents then. And we will talk about little steps to get you towards potential. How many of you would like to build a team at some point? Okay, so for those of you who would like to build a team, we'll talk about ways to make that happen, okay? So get yourself in a mindset where if you're going to build a team, if you're going to grow a team, hire people that are better than you. Hire people that are better than you at that specific task. I've got an amazing buyer's agent on my team, and I feel so comfortable passing business to Sabrina because I know that my clients are going to be treated so well. So find those people in your world. You guys good? Okay. Having a goal and not fulfilling it is a negative thing. Okay, not having a goal is the negative thing. If you're just walking through life and you have no goal, that's the negative. All right? If you have a target, 76% of people who actually have a goal and have someone holding them accountable to that goal will hit it. So have that goal, have someone hold you accountable, and guess what? If you fall short, great, make adjustments so that you hit that goal next year. It's every little step in failure is just a learning process to getting a little bit better, every step of the way, okay? It's not necessary, I don't need it. There's something magical that happens when you think big and try to achieve it. Even if you don't hit your goal, you transform yourself. You become a better person when you think bigger. So that is what thinking like a millionaire really brings about. In both we call that be, do, have. Think like a millionaire. You'll change your inside so that you start having different results. All right, this is not bold, so we're not going to go into that. So, which myth understanding are you grappling with right now? And by the way, if you could sign in, Richard. What are you struggling with, my friend?
It would take too much time and effort.
Too much time and effort. Tell me more about that.
The time.
The time.
I feel like there's not enough time. So when you kind of, went into details about it.
Good, good. That's awesome. And here's what I'm going to recommend. Think differently about the activities you're putting into play. Think about, okay, am I doing the highest and best use of my time for whatever I'm doing? Don't mistake movement for achievement. Just by working all the time does not necessarily mean that we're achieving all that we have within us.
Am I doing? Say that again?
So I said don't mistake movement for achievement.
No, not that one, the one before that one.
So it's, okay, are my activities actually the highest and best? That's a term we use in real estate, highest and best. Is it the highest and best use of my time to get me to achieving my goals? Think through that. If that's a challenge for you, think through that one. Vic, you had something?
Mine was myth 5.
Why? Tell me more.
I just really believe that's the case.
So myth 5 was what? Which one was that?
Clients will work.
My clients only want to work with me.
Gotcha. So it's like, because the Vic level of service is where?
It's high.
It's way up here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So what if you found, so I think I'm pretty stinking good for my clients, and yet if I had a Victor Collins in my world, I'd feel so comfortable. I'd feel so comfortable handing that off. Because it's all about who else is in the world who's great. We know that sometimes we have a thought that only we are going to be great at what we do, and yet I'm filled in a room right now with amazing, capable agents. So find those people. If you're thinking of possibly growing your team, find people that you think, because all it is it comes down to relationship, right? So find people that you feel you would have a good relationship with, and guess what? Your clients will too. Your clients will too. That's great though. Thanks for sharing that. Any other thoughts? Katie.
Number 6.
Number 6, which one's that?
Having a goal and not fulfilling it is negative.
Ooh, tell me more about that.
I'm very competitive.
Oh, really?
I know, shocker.
I haven't picked up on
I
that.
know. And so for me, I feel like I am not yet at the point where I'm setting goals that are high enough to push me, and I really want to win my goals.
How long have you been in business here in Atlanta?
15 months.
Okay, good. So 1 full year.
Mhm.
Did you hit your goal in the first year?
No.
Okay. So
And I hate it.
okay. So I'm going to tell you, don't push your goal.
Huh?
Don't push your goal until you hit that goal.
Heard. Okay.
Change your actions, change what you're doing so that you hit that result and then say, wait a second, I can do it.
Okay.
And then push the next year.
So don't reduce your goal. Just stay with your goal and make sure you hit that.
Now, there was something, I mean, unless your goal is to sell $100 billion in real estate in the past year, then don't change your goal, or then bring your goal down. However, if it's something that you say, man, I can achieve this. With the focus and effort that I put into my life, I can achieve this. Don't change your goal this year until you hit it. Fair enough?
I need to potentially push it more for this year because I feel like it will be hit. And I'm like, I'd rather just hit it, and I want to hit it and win.
So what did we talk about? Your targets.
Mhm.
So have that big potential. So think about it like this. Boy, I'm going to run out of space here. So if Katie's here, and you've got your goal right here,
Yes.
then have your stretch goal out here, and then have your blow it out of the water goal out there. Okay? However, we budget for this goal.
Okay.
We budget for that goal because we don't want to overspend until we hit that number.
Okay.
And then we can start making adjustments as you grow.
Like
So
it.
does that make sense?
Yes,
That's
it
why I
does.
don't want you to push your goal, because when you push your goal, everything pushes. Your numbers that says you can spend changes, everything changes.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks.
See, I was able to put Katie's in the red because she didn't hit her goal yet. So that's why. Oh!
Oh, that hurt.
Ooh,
I was wondering when
I
you
don't
picked that
even know
up.
how I feel
I'm
about
like,
it.
that's not you right there at all.
I'm just stoking her competitive nature.
Oh no.
All right, my friends, y'all ready to push on?
Yes.
Challenge
Let's
accepted.
keep on truck-a-luckin'. The ways a millionaire real estate agents think. Number one, in fact, we're going to fly through these. You guys go with that? Number one, we're going to think powered by a big why. Think powered by a big why. What is that thing in you that gets you out of bed every single morning? When you are just sick and tired and it's raining and your kid is sick and whatever it is that's keeping you that says, boy, maybe I shouldn't go to work today. What is that thing that's going to push you? Where if you say, man, if I don't get out of bed, then something big won't happen in my life. Otherwise, you're just floating. Otherwise, it's, well, no big deal. I'll just do it tomorrow. And then you start putting things off. And then, whoa, why was I so far off from my goal? Maybe you need to really refine what your big why is. Does anybody want to share what they have as a big why right now?
I'll share mine.
Let's hear it, Joe.
Mine is to eventually help people that are less fortunate achieve their potential. Not their dreams, but their potential. So whether it be in a situation where someone's homeless and they're not homeless by choice, because some people are homeless by choice.
Yep.
And other people are homeless by circumstance, but they have potential not to be. So mine is to once I get to a point where I can take James Farren, meet James and say, well, you don't belong here.
Yeah, you did pull me off the streets, and I owe you for that, Joe. I appreciate you, my man.
And make it so that, and even have the potential to put you in a situation,
Sure.
even through either my businesses or whatever it is that I'm doing, but I can't get there until I make it with real estate.
So what I'm
every
hearing
day
you say,
it gets me out of bed.
every day that you're not doing your job, someone else continues to live a life in potential homelessness.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
Someone
wow,
else.
that was powerful.
Well, someone else continues to live a life in abject poverty. They're
Yes.
not able to live their most full life because you're choosing not to live by yours.
Exactly.
Is that a fair
Boy,
synopsis?
ooh, that's good, man. That's it.
Hey, you told me. You
That's
said
it.
it. So
That is
I
it.
agree. It
That's
is
money
good.
right there. Yep, that's it.
It is good. Arnell.
Could your why change?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I would hope that it doesn't change every day.
No.
What's my big why? Yeah, I think I'll do this today.
So maybe like with new goals, maybe a new why.
Maybe. It all depends on what your why is. Sometimes you get so big that you've achieved everything that you thought you could in that big why, and then you look a little farther out. You find, okay, and sometimes your passions change. Sometimes there's something in you that just impacts you. Like, for example, mine is the Fuji's Academy. I love the Fuji's Academy. I love those kids. And I know that because they graduate at 100% and 100% of those kids get a full ride scholarship to where they're going, my passion is to pay for those kids to get into that school. So I know that when I'm not doing my job, someone is potentially going to a high school where there's a 60% dropout rate and 80% of them don't go on to college. So it changed my big why 5 years ago. Is it possible it could change again? Absolutely. Absolutely. Just find one for you. Find one for you. You guys good with that?
Yes.
Okay. Think big goals and big models. So I think we've covered that one in a pretty high way already. By the way, get those two first. Those are the two foundational ones. Everything else will fall into place when you get those first two right. Because these next 6 are think competitively and strategically. If you've got big goals and big models, is it likely you're going to be thinking competitively and strategically? Katie, you're okay with the thinking competitively side?
I love it. That's the only thing I know how to do.
Good. Are you thinking strategically?
I don't know.
Okay. Well,
That's why I'm here, James. That's why I'm here.
We're going to tighten things up. I'm good with that. Think action and accountability. How many of you in this room have an accountability partner right now? Okay, hold on before you raise your hand. That you do scripts and role play with every single day.
Oh, nope.
Nobody.
Sure don't.
Okay. Every single day. You should be working on your scripts and role play. Why?
So you won't be practicing on your client?
No kidding. It's no joke. That is no joke, guys. When you are practicing on your clients, you are practicing with thousands and thousands of dollars of potential education. When you screw up in front of a client, that is a missed commission that could be $6, $9, $12, $15,000 that's just gone. Whereas if you practice this every single day with focused intensity, then boy, when you go out, by the way, practice with your client or practice with your script and role play partner so you can just play with your clients.
Yeah.
Think about that, man. When you are, this should not be work. Gary Keller said, how many of you went to a family reunion? Gary Keller said that every day in real estate we should be saying what? Do you guys know?
That's
Whee!
Oh,
It
man.
should be like you are on a roller coaster having so much fun. And if when you are practicing that script and role play, when you get out with your clients, it should just be a breeze. It should be a slam dunk that when you cross that threshold, they are signing with you. Otherwise, you got something to work on. Okay, so does that make sense?
Yeah.
Have I hit that bad boy hard enough? Should I get off my pony?
Yeah,
Okay, let's
good.
keep on going then. Think talent, systems, and standards. Always be searching for talent. Whether you're a single person now or you are thinking of growing a team, always be looking for that potential talent. Because if you're out of town, who could possibly fill in for you?
Yeah, you don't want it to be nobody.
Yeah, find that talent so that you can swap for each other's business. Hey, listen, I'm going to be out of town this week. Can you cover me and I'll cover you next week? Think like that for right now, because down the road, that person you might be able to bring onto your team. So always be thinking like that. Think knowledge and skills. Be learning based. By the way, congratulations. You are all here right now. I'm assuming you're already learning based. So check that one off. Done. Moving on. Think grit and think profit. What is grit?
Determination.
That's it. Tenacity. When things get tough, when everyone else is dropping out of real estate because things are getting tough. By the way, when there is a shift in the market, what typically happens? Anybody know?
You lose agents.
People.
In 2009, 70% of real estate agents got out of the business.
Yep.
Those who were licensed. Because it got what?
Hard.
It got hard. And boy, when it was so easy to sell, man, everyone wants to be a real estate agent. And then all of a sudden, when you have to work, when you have to have that grit and determination, that's where we see those people gain market share because everyone else is gone and all those clients are up for grabs. So have that grit. We're moving into a new shift. Will it be like 2009? I don't know. I don't think so. And yet, I don't have a crystal ball. So when things get tough, you keep pushing. And think, oh man, number 8, please circle number 8. Please circle number 8, think profit. think profit, because so many times people are focused on their GCI. Oh, what's your GCI? Oh, what's your GCI? How much money did you make? And yet what we don't know is that sometimes there are people who have so much GCI, gross commission income, and yet have no profit or negative profit. I was at a, we got a friend here? Okay.
He's with the right.
Okay. I was at a mega agent camp where someone was being recognized for just crushing it in real estate. I was sitting right next to them, not naming names, they are not in this region. And they were being recognized, they took their award, came and sat down next to me. I'm like, Mr. X agent, congratulations, what a great year, what a great accomplishment. And this guy like started tearing up a little bit. I said, what's going on? He said, I feel like a fraud. He said, I made so much money in gross commission income and we profited next to nothing.
Oh.
I am broke. Because making money means nothing if you don't keep it. So that's why we're having a business planning clinic, to really focus on not just making money, keeping that money. Okay, you guys good with that?
Yeah.
Okay, giddy up. I'm going to go right through those because, hey, James already talked about it. All right, next steps. Think a million. Examine your beliefs. Search for truths and abandon your myths. We're not going to do the anti-agent scenario because we are tight on time, my friends. And think like a millionaire real estate agent. So, we're now moving on to the 4 foundational models of the millionaire real estate agent. They are
page number, James?
hold on, 9. Thank you. I was going to jump over to that. There are 4 foundational models in the MREA, in the millionaire real estate agent. Number 1 is we have our economic model. Okay, that's the foundational level of finding. Well, we'll get into it in a second. Number 2 is the lead generational model, the budget model, and the organizational model. We're going to cover all 4 of those steps today so that you have clarity in your business. You guys good with that? Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So number 1, the elements of the economic model. Page 9 in your books. What we know is that we have our gross closed income, or gross commission income. To generate what the total net revenue is, what our total net income is, we subtract out cost of sale. Now I start seeing eyeballs glaze over when I start talking about cost of sale, and we subtract our operating expenses from it. Let's talk about operating expenses. Who can tell me what an operating expense is?
Technology,
Sure.
your phone,
Yep.
your printer, your
$94 a month.
desktop.
Yep.
Yep. That's
Yep.
what mine
Hold on.
is.
Who said $94 a month?
I did.
Yeah.
Okay. Not quite.
Oh, okay, just kidding.
That part actually goes into the cost of sale.
Okay.
Okay, so good. The elements that you add onto your business
Okay.
to make it, to lead generation money that you spend on salaries, all of that goes, what was that? Marketing, all of that goes into our operating expenses.
Closing coordinator.
Yep, that would be a salary, unless you're paying them a percentage of commission, which I'm thinking you're not. You probably pay them per transaction, right?
Do you,
Yeah.
James, with that, if you are in a situation where you have your clients pay for that, do you still count that?
Say it again?
The closing coordinator. If you have your clients pay for that,
So
do you
I would
count that?
I would still have it show up in my budget because the clients paying for it it's showing up as income, and you're using that to pay for the process, right?
Yeah.
Because it hits you, right?
Right,
And
yeah.
then you pay for it through that.
Right.
Okay, so yes,
Okay.
still counted in.
Clients pay for that? Is
That sounds like a Vic story. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so your story is your story. So if you can pull that off, bravo. So cost of sale. Let's all focus on what cost of sale is. What we know is that all of you pay what to the market center?
$94.
$94 in your monthly fee, and then what else?
30%.
Good.
Until
So
you-
money goes into your cap.
Right.
That portion goes into what is called your cost of sale because you have to pay that in order to be in business. For example, what also would go in here are commissions paid. So if you are sending referrals out, if you are paying someone because they sent a client into Atlanta and you're paying them a 25% referral, that would show up as a cost of sale to obtain that client. If you have a buyer's agent on your team and you're paying them through, like say they get 40% or 50% commission, that's cost of sale. All right, we're going to go into further detail on that. However, know that there's two different realms of how we're labeling money that's going out the door: cost of sale and operating expense. We good with that? Okay, let's keep on riding. Models and assumptions. So we are first going to show you what it looks like to net $1 million. What goes into netting $1 million? And we have to make a couple of assumptions. Number one, we're assuming that the average sales price is $238,333. We're finding that that is the average across the country, average sales price, okay? To operate on this level of business, you will need leverage. So we're going to assume the following. On the buyer side, we're assuming that it's on a 50-50 split with your buyer specialist, okay? And on the seller side, we're saying that for $1.25 million in GCI, by the way, in order to net $1 million, this might blow your mind. Hold on, grab your tables. In order to net $1 million, you have to gross around $2.5 million. Okay, you guys go with that? Okay, man, none of you had to grab your. Okay, Katie's still grabbing her table.
That's like just a lot.
It's a big goal, and yet.
Oh, I mean, like you're getting a little bit of a lot, is what I think.
Yeah, sure. And yet $1 million is $1 million. And we're going to
More than $1 million is more than $1 million.
That's true. And yet we're going to show you when you to make $1 million, it costs money to make that happen. So this is part of that thinking big part. How many of you would like to make $1 million? This is what we're seeing the model show you should do to achieve that. From thousands and thousands of teams across the country, this is what they're doing. So know that you have to spend money to make money. This is what that looks like. Man, if Katie could make $1 million by herself, I would love that. I would love that, and maybe it's possible. I'm going to show you a different model.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay, good.
I'm just saying, I didn't know that you had to, make 2.5.
Yeah, it's going to come together. It's going to come together, my
I know
friends.
it shocks me.
Good. And then we get into average commission. So we are on page 10. Page 10. Average commission earned. If you make an average commission of $1,000, that means that you need to sell 2,500 units. Okay? So if your average sales price is $33,000, that's about an average commission of $1,000. Now, if your average sales moves up closer to what ours is, what's the average sales price here in Atlanta?
300?
Ballpark, right around 300. In Brookhaven, it's even a little bit higher. So let's assume it's around $10,000. It's around $10,000 in average commission. That means that you only have to have 250 units sold. So congratulations, you guys have won the location lottery. Just go sell some houses. Just go sell some houses, and that is highly achievable. So do you all know what your average commission is for yourself? If you do, write it down. If you know what your average commission is, because while the average in Atlanta may be $10,000, maybe you work in a lower price bracket where you sell typically $200,000 homes. Maybe you only work with $1 million properties. I don't know. Write down what your average commission is so we can work with it. If you are new in the business and you have not yet sold a home, go ahead and stick with $6,000, okay? And we'll work with that. We good? Okay, page 10, this is what it looks like. So Katie, for clarity, we have $2.5 million in total GCI, half of which we earn from listings and half of which we earn from our buyers, okay? Mm-hmm. Now buyers typically require what? More time? More time. It's typically a longer closing period. They're looking at more houses. So if you are running a team, you have to have more buyer's agents to achieve that goal. That is why you have to pay $625,000 to the team to achieve $1.25 million in sales. Half of it's being shared. Now on this side, it's slightly easier to achieve that goal on the listing side. It takes less work. You go on listing appointments, you put a sign in the yard, and you stay in touch. That typically only costs about $125,000 per year to hire someone to do that. So that means that the total cost of sales in terms of operations is expected to be about $750,000. And if you add that 625 and the 125, what do you get? $625,000 plus 125 is what? $750. That is your total cost of sale. So you subtract those two out, and you hold on to $1 million at the end of the day. All right, that's what the model looks like. Clarity on that?
Do we go into what the breakdown is on that or no?
Oh, baby, we sure do. You are in the right room.
Okay,
You are in the right room.
can't wait.
Okay, you do understand the cost of sales side, though, right?
Yes,
Okay.
I'm asking about the lower number, the bottom.
Good. The operating expenses? Yes, we get into that on the budget. Who's excited to make a budget today? Oh, baby. Numbers are so much fun. Numbers are so much fun. I'm ready to nerd out all over this class. All right, your three focus areas. Focus on the critic. And in fact, I'm going to go back a second. Because I desire to draw this out for you. Let's draw this out for you. Hold on, let me get to the right page. I got so excited I lost track of my own book. Okay, good. We're going to keep on going. I am complete. By the way, they just made a new model of this, so you guys are my first run. You guys happy with that?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
good. We are going to get through this together. Focus on the three critical levers of your business. And that is going to be, what are going to be the lead gen models you're using? We're going to get to that next. Focus on appointments and focus on conversion rates. Have all of you seen this before? Does anybody know what we call this in Keller Williams?
Four conversations.
The 4 conversations, you got it. And what it means is we track your listings taken, your listing appointments to your listings taken, which lead to your closings, which then lead to your profits. My favorite. We're coming to it.
Okay.
We're coming to it. This is not in your books.
Perfect.
This portion is not in your books. We're just talking at a high level, so take notes if you don't know what that is. And your wall of value is what is your unique value proposition. What value do you add to get people into your world? How many appointments did you have last year? If you don't know, please use the CGI tools. Is everybody using CGI?
Yes.
Yes? Is there anybody not using CGI tools? Is anyone not going to raise your hand no matter what I said? Okay, good. So this is just an opportunity to track your numbers. We're able to track your efficiency in different areas when you know what your numbers are. On average, we know that there are different conversion ratios in our business. Number one is we know that when you get listing appointments, do you take every single listing that you go on?
No.
I wish to. And yet we find on average, most people are not. On average, we're taking about 75% if you're operating at high efficiency. Okay? Do you know what your number is? For every appointment, let's say for every 10 appointments you go on, how many do you take? If you don't know, please start tracking. Please start tracking because we will be able to coach you in a better way. Will you be able to coach in a better way if you know numbers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Do we have PC coaching in this market center?
Yes.
In order for our coaches to be highly effective, these numbers matter. They make a difference. So for those listings that you actually take, we know that there's a conversion of 75% at a high level. Now, we also know that will every single listing that you take sell? I wish, yet again, and yet wishes don't work in a model. So we know that on average for high producers, 75% of the listings you take, you actually sell. If your number's different, write down what your conversion number is. Same thing on the buyer side. For every buyer, every 10 buyers that walk through the door, how many actually decide, yes, I'll sign a buyer brokerage agreement with you? If it's 80%, write down 80%. If it's 20%, write down 20%. Again, here we're using the average. By the way, these are from MREA too. Gary's working on a second book, a sequel essentially to the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. These are the numbers that he's putting in that book. When he tracks top teams, these are their conversion ratios, okay? So we're saying for every 10 that come in, about 7 or 8 are going to sign with him. And then for listings, for buyer sold, so while you have those 75%, will every single one of them end up buying a home?
No.
Why? What might happen?
Financing fall through.
Yep, finance.
Anything, all kinds of stuff.
They could have a job relocation. Anything can happen in the buyer's process that has nothing to do with you. So don't take that number personally. Numbers are not good or bad, they're merely evidence. Okay, so don't have personal attachment to it. Just know what they are so you can be good with it. So when you are dealing with someone who has a net income of $1 million, do you guys have this in your book? Okay, it should be on page 11 of your book. You have, for a person who has a net income of $1 million, we know that 40% of that will go towards operating expenses, 40% will go towards cost of sale. That equals a total GCI of $2.5 million. They're using an average commission of $7,150, right? That means that they have to sell 350 units to achieve that. Good to see you, by the way. We are splitting it in two different ways. Half the business is going to come on the sell side, half is going to be on the buy side. They did it 50-50. So 50% is from seller listing. So that means how many units have to come from sellers? 175 if you're going to net $1 million. Is anybody's eyes glossing over yet, or are we still tracking?
Good.
Okay, good. We keep moving. We use that 75% conversion ratio because not everyone is going to sign with them. So that means that we actually have to take 233 listings to achieve that number. Now, the appointment conversion means that 75% of them are not going to, 75% will sign with you, which means that we have to go on 311, is that a word?
Yeah.
I think so.
It could be.
311 appointments to achieve that. All right?
Wow.
Big numbers?
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the buyer side. It's going to sound very similar. 50% of them are coming from buyers. That means 175 homes we need to sell to achieve our goal on the buy side. With the 75 conversion ratio, that means that we actually need to sign 233 clients, which means that if 75% conversion, that we need to have 311 buyer appointments. Big numbers?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, that's okay. We're going to create the numbers for you. Let's go over to your economic plan. Do we all know, did you all write down what your conversion ratios are? We talked about 4, right? We talked about the numbers of how many listing appointments we go on versus how many we take. And then from those we take to how many actually sell. If you don't know your numbers, put in 75%. If you don't know your numbers, put 75%. If you do know your numbers, put that in. If you have your multi-year trends report, we can use that to help you get your numbers. If not, please have it next year. By the way, we're going to be doing this class again in October. Have your numbers for October. You guys good with that?
The 7-hour version?
And I'm probably going to cut it back to closer to 3. I'll make the 3-hour
like it.
version. Yep, it's a long class. I think 3 hours is about right to make it work. Okay? So I'm not going to do that portion. I want to actually create the number for you. You guys all have a blank version in your books? Okay. So let's determine what net income do you desire to make in your business? What is the net income that you desire to make in your business?
So we put our own up there.
Bless you.
Okay. Do you guys want me to make this easier for you?
Sure.
Start out with your net income. What's that number? How much net income do you want to have in your pocket? Not your GCI. How much money do you want to have in your pocket before you pay your taxes? Does everyone have that number? Divide that number by 0.4. Divide that number by 0.4. You should have a number that's bigger than your net income, correct? Put that number in your total GCI.
May I ask a question?
You may.
In October, when we were doing it, I found that at a lower than $1 million net income, the cost of sale percentage I think, and maybe operating, we're both significantly smaller.
It is, and yet, let's start with this, and we're gonna talk through why in just a minute, okay? So do divide by 0.4. Yes, do we all have that? Subtract the big number from the small number. So in this example, it was 2.5 minus 1 million. That equaled 1.5, right? Whatever that number is that you came up with, divide it by 2 and put it on the operating expense and cost of sale line. Okay, so we should have that first portion figured out, correct? If not, let me come find you. Raise your hand. This is a great opportunity to get this right. By the way, if you don't get this part right, the rest of this is completely over your head. So let's get this part right.
Okay, got it.
Let me take away. Yep, looks good. Okay? Once you have that part down, what is your average commission amount? Well, how much do you take on your average commission? And go ahead and write that down in the next line. So then you're going to take your total GCI and divide it by your average commission. That will tell you how many units you need to sell in 2019 to hit your goal. So we all have this. Okay? Now determine what percentage of your business you desire to come from listings and what percentage you desire to come from buyers. Write that in the next line. One on the left-hand side, one on the right-hand side. Yes, sir.
This part right here, I need to figure out. So for the average commission.
So you take this number divided by that number.
Okay, so the
That
GCI
number divided, yeah, GCI divided by your average commission. Okay? So if you have 350 units and you multiply it by whatever you put down on the seller side, that will tell you how many sellers listings you would need to have sold to hit your goal. So we take our total units sold multiplied by point whatever percent. Per 100 means that we multiply by point whatever it is. So if it was by 50%, it would be, in this example, it was 350 times 0.5. That equaled 175 total seller listings sold. This is the most complicated part of the math, guys. So we're going to go a little bit slower on this part. And then do the same thing on the buyer side. Did you get yours? Okay, great. Let's just stick on the seller side for the rest now that we have our two numbers. So if we have our total seller listings sold, divide it by what you put down as your conversion ratio. If you didn't have a number, divide it by 0.75. Okay? So in this example, it was 175 divided by 0.75. You should get a bigger number. Okay? Because you need to have more listings needed than those that actually sell. So you should get a bigger number in that line. If you divide by a fraction, you get a bigger number. You got yours? Look at you rolling. Her high D is showing.
I like that.
Katie's done. Ding!
I did.
And work your way down, because once you have this number, you're going to divide by 0.75 again. You should have a bigger number of seller appointments needed. Either I just had a seizure and dropped my thing, or my reflexes aren't as good as they once were. I'm hoping it's my reflexes.
We'll go with the second.
However, if I start foaming at the mouth, let the EMS know. I think he had a seizure. So work your way down where you've got a full line completed on the seller side. Then work your way down, do the same thing on the buyer side. Guys, make eye contact with me when you have completed the total seller appointments needed and the total buyer appointments needed. Make eye contact once you are done. If you're not done and you have questions, raise your hand and I'll come help. Sir. All right, let's take a look. All right. So 437. This is wrong. This part's wrong. What's 437, 500? 437, 500 divided by 7,000. Yep, so you need to increase that part. And then go back in and run through the numbers. By the way, can we ever sell a fraction of a home?
No.
Good, so if you have a number that is a 0.5, what are we gonna do?
Round up.
Round up, baby. Round up. Everyone's favorite pesticide.
Is he talking about Roundup?
I think I am. I think I am. Okay. Is everyone now at the point where you have your seller and buyer appointments needed, completed? I want to see vertical head nodding. And if not, I'm going to come track you down. Okay, good. Got vertical head nodding. Feeling good. Still trucking.
Yeah.
If you need help, let me know.
All right, I'll get my numbers right.
Okay, good.
So,
Yes, sir.
if you're gonna call the 75, you'll round it up to 80.
I would. Perfect. You're welcome. Yeah. Okay, my friends. If you have completed that portion, here's the next step. Divide the total buyer appointments. Well, actually start with the seller appointments. Total seller appointments divided by 12. And that should tell you how many seller appointments you need to have per month. Did you all do that part? And then you did it by per week. Divide that part by 4, and that'll tell you how many appointments you need to go on per week. Who is willing to share what number that they wrote down? Jonathan.
1 per week and 3 per month.
To hit your goal, how's that feel?
Doable. I can do it.
That's the thing, guys. We all think that these numbers are so astronomical, and then we look at it and say, dang, all I have to do is 1 appointment per week. 1 appointment per week to make that happen. Does anyone have a number bigger than 1? Okay, what was your number?
For sellers?
Sure.
It's a little far-fetched.
No, it's great.
No, let's hear it.
15 a month and 4 a week.
4 per week. That's less than 1 per day. I'm doing Bold in Woodstock. I have an agent who says, I don't end my day until I have 1 seller appointment per day. 1 seller appointment per day. Now that means her activities have to be different. She's going on FISBOs. How many of you think for sale by owners are evil and eat their young? No one? Okay, 1 person. The rest of us have to recognize the fact that they're actually just normal people who are looking to sell their home. Okay, don't limit yourself and say that I can't do this, because they're just normal people. Make a phone call. That's all she does. She was afraid of them, went through Bold, and is now getting a listing per day. A listing per day. Do you think she's living a slightly different life now? Okay. So I don't see that as far-fetched at all. Good. Does that add clarity around that portion? Okay, some people are saying yes, some people are saying no.
Yes, it does.
Okay. If it's a no, come meet me after class. If you don't want to raise your hand now, meet me after class, because I want to be sure we're good. Okay. Let's go into the lead generation portion. Oh, baby. Lead generation. This is like love language stuff. Who loves lead generating in this room? Good. Good.
Back to it.
For those of you who don't, let's change our mindset around it. Let's see, how can we add value into the world of the people we love? That's all lead generating is. That's all it is. So the lead generation model, we're going to concentrate on your 3 key focus areas. Review the lead gen model and create your lead generation plan. None of this is in your books, so please take notes. Please take notes. If you, in fact, let's see here. I'll be sure I'm on the same realm with you guys. Are you guys around page
13.
Good, yep, you got it. Perfect. Let's keep moving then. We know that when we're focusing on lead generation, 2 things we need to be focused on. The M&M of lead generation, our message and our method. When we focus on having a really great message and we determine what the method is that we're going to use, it adds so much clarity. So let's talk about the method first. There are 2 main methods we can look at, marketing and prospecting. What's the difference between the 2?
Prospecting
sir.
is
I think of
Go ahead, yes sir.
I think about prospecting as face-to-face experience,
Okay, good.
and marketing as a perfect tool for insurance to hide behind.
Yeah, well, think about it this way. That's a great point. Marketing is proactive, it's a proactive step, and yet it's indirect. It's an indirect approach to sending a proactive message. Whereas prospecting is a proactive and direct stance and getting in touch with our people. So both of them require an area for time blocking, and we have to do these 3 things. We have to prepare, take action, and maintain. So we're going to go into deeper depth on this in a second. The other part is focusing on what our message is. So many people miss this. We know that you have to match your market. So we have to have different messages depending on who we're targeting. We also have to go down to a place where we are looking for a response. If you get nothing else out of this portion, be sure that your message has a call to action. What is the call to action that we're looking for when we're sending out our message? It should be one of 2 things. One should be, contact, who do you know looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate? Contact me right now. Or number 2, for more information, please visit my website, blah, blah, blah. One is direct, one is slightly more indirect. Okay, what is your method? Everything should have a call to action though. Okay? How are we doing on time? Oh baby, we're moving. All right, your 3 key focus areas. Let's go down to this area. Prospecting base. So why are we focusing more on prospecting than marketing? Cornell.
Because you want to be more proactive.
Well, both of them are proactive.
Marketing costs.
One is direct and one is indirect.
Oh.
So they're both proactive. I like that thought. What were you saying, Dana?
Marketing costs money.
That's part of it. Marketing costs a lot of money. How many of you are looking to just throw money right now into marketing? Just pour money into it. Okay, good. Start with prospecting because it costs what?
Nothing.
Next to nothing.
Time.
Time is something. Do you guys have more time than money right now?
Yes.
Focus on that side. Focus on that side. Now, when you have more money than time, then you pay for that time through marketing. Think about it that way. Does that add a little bit of clarity?
Yeah.
Okay, good. Let's keep on moving. Oh, baby, I love this. Prospecting based and marketing enhanced. We know that the top agents get 90% of their business from their top 5 activities. They have 5 areas that they get 90% of their results from. And by the way, one of them they get the majority of their results from. What is your big rock? What is the thing that you do that gets you the majority of your results? We call it the Pareto principle, right? Anybody know what that is?
80-20 rule.
Yeah, 80% of your activities are, 20% of your activities will get you 80% of your results. So find what your things are. I'm going to tell you to go deep into a couple of things instead of going shallow on everything. What are the things that you say, I commit to doing this? I commit to taking these actions. So that's on your page 13, correct?
You would say the same with money, right?
Say that again?
You would say the same with money, like spend your money on the top accounts that are building you the most business.
Oh, brother, you got it, man. I'm so excited. I can't wait to get to the budget. Oh, can we just go to the budget now? All right, we'll calm myself. All right. Prospecting and marketing. So, real quick, is calling a FISBO prospecting or marketing?
Prospect.
Good. Is advertising in the PTA school newsletter prospecting or marketing?
Marketing.
Good. Is door knocking at Geographic Farm prospecting or marketing?
Prospecting.
Good. Is direct mail to newly married couples prospecting or marketing?
Marketing.
Man, we got a smart room. I'm going to ask you to look through and find the realms that you're currently doing in prospecting and marketing on your page 14. On your page 14, what are you currently doing? Go ahead and underline those and circle the items that you are committing to doing. From this day in March, what is today, March 19th?
Yeah.
Good. From March 19th until December 31st, what am I going to add into my world? I'm going to ask that you don't have more than 5. Don't have more than 5. And if you're saying, I'm mainly going to focus on prospecting, pick 4 that are prospecting and 1 that's marketing, or do all 5 that are prospecting. If nothing else, focus on the prospecting side. So take a little bit of time and fill that out.
Yellow pages, LOL.
What's that, Katie?
Yellow pages. That makes me LOL.
Yellow pages online is what it meant to say.
Correct.
Why would just sold be prospecting?
Good. Sending out newsletters, like so. For example, I go door to door, and I tell people, hey, this is the home I just sold in your neighborhood. Do you know anybody else looking to buy, sell, or invest in the neighborhood?
Okay.
Circle prospect.
Yeah, absolutely. Make phone calls.
Especially if it went fast, or you had multiple offers, you were going to tell the neighbors that you were a good agent.
Wow, look how good I look. That's all it's saying.
Yeah.
Come and see how good I look.
So open house.
Where would you put open house? Yeah.
What's that?
Open house.
I think that's prospecting.
I think it's prospecting.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
So just solds and just listed, what would you do with those? Like, it's already, under contract with the agent, or just sold, I don't get it.
So that's what we're talking. Go ahead, Dana.
Circle prospect. You get a listing, you get on Cole Realty, and you call every number,
Gotcha.
every house around that. If you sold it, call every house
so
around
those
that.
two would be combined into just
Yeah.
a circle prospecting.
Mhm.
Correct.
And that's so easy to do, and you would be surprised the return you get.
Yeah, I know, I just didn't know that that's what that meant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
So who's going to tell me something that they added that they're going to put into their business plan for the rest of the year? Yes.
Social media.
Social media. What are you going to do?
Anytime that I have, interact with my friends, my Facebook friends, Instagram followers, and actively build relationships with them so I can always know when they're ready to,
Do you know Andrew Dennis?
yeah.
Andrew Dennis has a specific plan around working Facebook and Instagram that I think is really smart. You might want to talk to him about it.
Okay.
Okay? He's a super generous guy. I'm sure if you buy him lunch, he's got a big appetite. So buy him some lunch and ask him what he's doing, and I bet you he'd be willing to share it with you.
Okay.
Okay? Any other thoughts? What are you guys doing? Katie,
Client parties.
good. Tell me more about that.
So right now I have 3 that are planned for this year. So
That's funny. I don't remember getting an invite. Huh.
Well, you're not a past client. Or in my farm. So one for the farm, it's like a baby one for the farm. It's like a ice cream social in the summer, and then a past client party in the fall, and then a sphere party.
Good. Guys, we're going to talk about this a little bit later. Client parties are awesome. And it's not just about the client party, it's about the invite to the client party.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the different touches to remind people, listen, I hope a bunch of people don't come to my client parties because it's expensive.
Huh.
And yet it's more about the touch. It's about letting somebody know that they were invited. And but we do get great turnout. So don't be attached to the result, be attached to the activity. You lead generate to invite them by a phone call. You lead generate with a mailer that went out to invite them. You have the event, Then the fourth touch is a, hey, it was so great to see you at my party, or dang, you know, I really missed you at the party. We hope to see you at the next one, which is at XYZ date. It's everything is a touch, okay? Set up your database and feed it. We have a couple different areas, a couple different realms that we focus on in our real estate world. We used to have something called a 12 direct. Do you guys all remember that?
Yeah.
We've now changed that to the 19 to connect. Capture people who are people who have the right to at least have a one-way conversation with. So if you have somebody who is a not met, 19 touches is what it's going to take before we can put them into our what used to be our 33 touch. It is now moving into a 36 to convert. So it should take 36 touches in the year to get a really good return on investment. What we say is that with 36 touches, when you're doing it consistently, you should at least get a 10% return on the number of people who are in your database.
This is not in the booklet, is it?
No, this is just beautiful. This is just beautiful extra information. Actually, it's
Page 14.
page 15 on the bottom. It also goes into it.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
Okay? So let's go right over to this portion. You have this on your page 15. In your database, if you have 3,500 people in your database and you have 100% conversion, that means that every single person that you send is sent your way, you're able to close. That means that you should be able to get 10%. So 3,500 people send you 10% of those should turn into business. Fair enough? That should equal 350 deals. If you close every possible deal that comes your way, that's what the 100% conversion means. Now, in order to get the same 350 deals, if you have a 50% conversion rate of leads that come from your database, that means you have to have 7,000 people in your database to hit that 2.5 million. And same thing for, it'd take 14,000 people in your database to get to 350 deals if you have a 25% conversion. What I need to know, how many people do you all have in your database today? 1,200?
That's good.
Good. Who has, let's start with this. Who has more than 1,000 people in their database?
When you say database,
Well, let's talk about your Met database.
oh, heard.
How many people do you have in your Met database? Okay, who has 500 or more in their Met database? Okay, so are you getting that 10% return? Ask yourself that question.
No.
So if you have 500 people in your database, you should be getting 50 deals. 50 deals at a minimum. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's 10%.
If you are doing 36 touches per year. Are you sending the right messaging to make that happen? Okay. How many have 300 or less? 300? Okay, good. So again, ask the question, am I getting 30 units closed per year based on my transaction? By the way, the other way to look at this is, gosh, do I have enough people in my database to hit my goal? You all wrote down a goal, right, of how many units you need to sell?
You don't have enough.
You don't have enough, so what does that mean?
Gotta get more.
Gotta go get more. Gotta go get more. How are we doing on time? Good. Let's keep on moving. So let's take a look at that. If you are on page 17, we're going to write down the number of people in your database in that first box. Divided by 10. And multiply it by your conversion ratio. Again, if you don't know what your conversion ratio, we're going to assume it's around 75%. If you know it's different, add in whatever your conversion ratio is. That is the potential that currently sits in your database. That is what you should be closing.
Conversion rate should be 10, right?
What's that? No, conversion ratio will be when they send you a lead, how many of them actually turn into a listing?
Right, okay, because we're dividing by 10.
Yeah, correct. So it's going to be a multi-step. So it'll be the number of people in your database divided by 10, and you multiply that by your conversion ratio. That is your potential opportunity. Now we also set a goal, correct, on the previous page of how many units you have to sell. Times 10 divided by your conversion ratio, that's the number of contacts you need to have in your database. Does that make sense? So you had a goal that you wrote down on the last page of units sold, right?
Previous page.
What's your listing sold goal? Okay, so if you take
I'm sorry,
70,
I'm sorry, 102.
102? Okay, so if you take 102 times 10, times 10, and you divide it by your conversion ratio, that is the number of contacts you need in your database to hit your goal. Okay, so that's how we get to that second box on the far right-hand side. That if you take the number of contacts needed to hit your goal, and you subtract it by the number of people currently in your database, that tells you how many people you need to add into your database by the end of the year.
So 80 times 10 equals 800 divided by, right?
Which line are you on?
This
Yep, so your goal is 80 units.
Mhm.
So 80 times 10
100.
is
800.
800, so divide that by your conversion ratio.
Okay, 75%, right?
Yep. Divide by 0.75. That's how many you have to have in your database. Okay?
Yeah, that ain't too bad though.
So that tells us, and by the way, take that number. Does anyone in here have enough people in their database to hit their goal right now? No.
Yeah, I'm not working as hard enough.
Yeah, okay, there you go. Or you're not working efficiently enough.
It's hard. I'll accept that.
Okay, so if your number that you need to add into your database is bigger than what you currently have, divide it by 12. Well, actually, how many months do we have left? Say April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Divide it by 9. And that's how many people we need to add into our database per month to hit our goal.
So, yeah, okay. So this number, 1,067, actually round that up. And then this.
I'll come help you. I'll come help you after class.
Total number.
So how many people do y'all have to add into your database per month to hit your goal? I want to hear some numbers.
31.
31 per month. That's 1 per day.
That's great.
I had a goal in high school to meet 1 new person per day.
Did you?
I still do, to this day.
Oh, I love that goal.
So when I'm at the airport, it means that I'm talking to people. When I am anywhere, it forces me to get out of my comfort zone to meet someone new every day. There's someone out there who has an interesting story. All you have to do is ask.
Oh yeah.
And by the way, when you find that out, add them to your database. Have an authentic conversation that leads to building a relationship, that leads to having conversations about real estate. It's not just a game of how many people can I add, it's how strong of a relationship can I build. Yes, sir.
Oof, write
And
that
that's,
down.
I think you hit
Oof.
it there with the relationship and how much info you have on those people.
Yep.
If you're gonna effectively touch them 33 times or what have you, 36 times,
Yep.
you need to have emails and addresses and all that stuff to be a true contact, right?
Well, let me crush that drunk monkey thought for just, I'm not saying it's true, let me say, it's a slight limiting belief.
Okay.
Because these numbers do not need to say, these are 1,000 of my best friends, okay? This just means that 1,000 people that you have met, communicated to effectively, will lead to that. Now, if you have authentic relationships, your number will be higher than 10%. If you have authentic relationships, it should be closer to 17%.
Okay.
That's that 12 to 2 ratio. You should get 2 pieces of business out of every 12 people in your database. We were being generous and rounded up to 10% because maybe they're not all great relationships. And yet, the tighter that relationship, the stronger it will be. You guys good with that? Mm-hmm. Okay, let's keep trucking. At the bottom, I'm going to ask you to turn this into homework. Select some lead generation sources. Okay? You've done a little bit of this already. Just be sure that you highlight this. Put this up. Put this sheet up. Put your economic plan up somewhere where you will look at it. Post it up to remind yourself that, okay, this is my goal that I set. And I need to look at it. How often should you at least look at it?
Every day.
Once a day.
Boy, man, that's sweet if you do that. Even if you don't do that, do it once per week. If you do it every day, you're going to hit it. And yet if you do it once per week, you're checking your numbers and keeping yourself, you're holding yourself accountable to the numbers that you set today. All right? So let's keep on moving to the budget model on page 19. By the way, are we clear on the lead gen side?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's easy.
Good. A lot of this stuff we have to cover in our 3-hour class, so bear with me. Budget model. Commit to your 3 focus areas. Check in. Which category best describes you? How many of you are new agents, 6 months or less? Good. Welcome. I love having you guys. Thank you. How many of you are individual agents longer than 6 months in the business? Perfect. How many of you are agents on a team? Good. And do we have anybody in here who is a mega agent making around 10 million in GCI, not 10 million GCI, 10 million in closed volume?
10 million in GCI would be amazing.
How about 6 million in closed volume? Okay. Let's push ourselves to get to that place, my friends. All of you have that potential in you. All of you have that potential. All right. Your 3 focus areas. Lead with revenue. Play red light, green light, and stick to the budget. Lead with revenue. Make money before you spend it. We're going to be building a budget that says, oh, look at all this money I can spend. You can only spend the money if you're making money. That's why we check our budget every single week. Gary Keller lives on 1% of his income. 1% of his income, and he checks his numbers weekly. Every single week he's looking at his P&L. He's checking against his budget to be sure he's on track. You should be doing the same if you expect those results. Even if you don't expect Gary Keller results, it's still your responsibility to keep track of where you are. If you don't know where you are, how are you ever going to know where you're going? Think about a GPS. If you put in your destination, yet the GPS has no idea where you are, can it set a plan to get you where you're going?
No.
Track where you are. Check your results along the way. Okay, play red light, green light. This is my favorite game. If you are choosing to invest in one of those shiny objects that we talked about, you can choose to do so. You have to play red light, green light to be sure that you are getting a return on your investment. What it means is that you should be, how much money do you expect for every dollar you spend in your business? If you spend $1, how much do you expect to get back?
3.
3 to 1 ratio, that's good. What else? 5 to 1 ratio.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it better be more than 2 to 1. 3 to 1 is good, 5 to 1 is great. What Gary says is he doesn't do it without an 11 to 1 return on investment. So that's why prospecting that's where you get your highest return on investment with prospecting. Highest return on investment. So if you aren't getting the results when you spend on something, you have to throw up that red stop sign and say, I'm not doing this anymore. Don't let good money chase after bad money. That's all this is saying. So this is the MREA budgets. I want you to pay attention. If you have a GCI goal of $350,000 or less, I want you to focus and circle on this column. You guys all built a GCI goal on that first economic model, right? Bear with me, I'm starting to lose my voice. So circle that first column if your goal was 350 or below. Circle the second column if your goal was 700,000 or below. Do you guys all have this? It should be on page 20?
Mm-hmm.
Good. If your goal was $1 million or below, circle that third column. Does everyone have a column circled?
Yes.
Okay. This is going to be important. Then we're going to move on to this next slide. We've already talked about cost of sale. On page 21, go through that same exercise. Circle the column if it was 350, 700, 1 million. You determine it. Because that is going to be your target for your budget. The budget that we set is going to be based off of these numbers. Does anyone have a goal bigger than $2.5 million? Good, then all of you should be able to find your number here on this chart. All right? So, what we know is that 48% of your money should come from salaries and 32% should come from lead gen. All right, those are going to be the two biggest expenses for an MREA agent. People making $2.5 million. That's a lot of money, right? And yet, this is where the rubber meets the road. We're going to jump over to the agent plan on page 23. Look on page 23. See where it says dollars based on MREA? See where it says that?
Yes.
Notice how there are percentages on the column that you circled. So in this model, if you had a goal of $350,000 or below, that means that you can spend 14% or so in salary, 8% in lead gen, 3.6 in education. It gives you a percentage, right? Are we all tracking? Mm-hmm. Good. Where it says dollars based on MREA on page 23, I actually want you to put in whatever the percentage is that lines up with your column, right in the percentage. So if it was 350 and below, I'd put in salary, I'd put in 14.8. In lead gen, I would put 8.6.
Are you talking about at the top of that?
No, see, notice on page 23, there are two columns. I'm looking at the second column where it says salaries.
Yes.
Good, that's where I want you to put the dollars based on MREA, that percentage. And go all the way down to the bottom. We're going to talk about cost of sale in a second. These are the items that you can feel okay spending money on with your target. So will someone share with me, well, actually before we do that, take your total GCI. You guys all had your total GCI on that economic plan, right? How much money you're going to make in 2019? Is that a yes or a no?
Yes.
Okay. Multiply that total GCI by whatever percentage you put in each column. So you put your percentages down, right? Okay. So see what was your goal? Okay, so did we highlight it? Circle it? Circle it. Circle it. No, circle it. So right here in salaries, put that percentage down. In lead gen, put that percentage. Don't worry about the dollar amount, just put the percentages down. Right here where it says dollars based on MREA.
Okay.
Salaries.
Okay.
So, yep, you got it? Think you got yours, Tom?
No, let me ask you a question.
Yep. Excuse me.
My number is not 350.
350 or below.
Then I use the same percentage.
Same percentage.
Got it, okay.
Even if,
We're going to talk about it.
okay, I'm sorry.
Squash that drunk monkey for now.
Oh, okay.
Squash that drunk
Well,
monkey.
I think my main thing was like coaching, for example. I think I paid higher
Okay.
than what they have.
Okay. We'll
And-
talk about that.
Oh, okay. Just do it. Have faith? Question mark.
Yeah, if you're that close, put in the 350s. So guys, we're just putting the percentages on the dollars on the MREA side. Dollars based on MREA. We're just putting in the percentages right now, correct?
Yes.
Once you have that part completed, multiply your total GCI by that percentage and put it in the My Budget Plan section. Are we all clear on that?
Yep.
Okay, good. Yes, sir.
So,
So go up to the 700 level. Hold on, where's that Sharpie circle? Go ahead and break this tape out. That might be easier for you. Rick, so all you're going to do is take that percentage and write it in these columns. So what's that first percentage? And put it in, matched up with your salaries. And just go down the list in order.
So James, mine is 300,000.
So do the 350 and below.
Right, and I did that for here.
Good.
And then
Multiply that 300,000 by that percentage and put it into my budget plan.
Okay.
So it should be a smaller number.
All right.
So it will be, if you have 8%, what do you put in? Your GCI times what?
0.08
You're so smart. That's what we're talking about.
with its numbers.
So my friends, here's what I'll say. We're running short on time. I'm going to ask you to turn this into homework. Do it after the fact. Here's what I'll say. Check this monthly. This is what your total annual budget should be, right? Now, if we're talking about an annual budget, divide whatever your total budget plan is by 12. And check to be sure, am I spending more than this per month? Okay, so like Katie was talking about, if she has, let's say she has $12,000 per year that she can put towards coaching, how much does that mean she should be spending per month? 1,000 per month, correct. So if she sees herself going above that, she has to start making some really tough decisions of, okay, am I investing in the right things right now? What's that?
What happens if your coaching contract?
So that's, is there ever a point when you will cap out and move on to a different coaching program? I don't know. At some point, when you are achieving at a really, really, really high level, you have to decide, okay, which direction am I going to go with this? Okay, great.
Appreciate it. May I ask another question?
You may.
Okay, wait. So, who's getting $32,000 in a salary?
Okay, let's talk about that. Salaries.
I don't want to.
What are some areas that we could spend on salaries?
So I know closing coordination.
Closing coordination. That is something that we could put in as a salaried expense.
Right, because
Okay.
I have like oh, is that photography too? I'm forgetting what was
that would be more marketing,
Perfect.
technically.
Because times that many deals.
Eventually, at some point, that goal, whatever you have,
Yes.
you might have to bring somebody on full time. You might have to bring a full-time assistant into your world at $32,000. Okay? This gives you the freedom to hit that net income number that you determined that you wanted. To make that happen, you might have to bring in some full-time assistants into your world.
So
It
not
just
per
gives you,
salary.
by the way, do you have to spend the money?
No.
Nope. If you don't spend the money, what does that turn into?
Who I keep it?
Revenue.
It turns into profit.
Right, okay, I like that.
So this just gives you the freedom to hit the number that you determine. You have the freedom to spend that money on leverage.
Okay.
Coach James is not coming up to you saying, Katie, spend more money. You will never hear me say that.
Okay.
It just gives you the freedom to do it. Okay?
I like
Do,
that.
do any of you see a miscellaneous column in there? No, because it doesn't exist. All right? Everything should fall into one of these realms. If it doesn't, then it's not a business expense. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. Please do that on your own. I'm going to just spend, you guys have a right to leave. The class is technically over. However, I'm going to spend just a few minutes going through the organizational model, and then we can press on. You guys good with that?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay, good. Any other questions on that section? Okay. In order to achieve your big goal, you might have to think differently about your organizational plan. You might have to think differently about how you're processing through that. So if you look over on page 24, that is a maximized organizational plan. All right, that is a lot of people. That is what it looks like to make $2.5 million and net $1 million of it. Those are the people that you would be adding onto your team. This is one of the newest realms that they added on, a director of expansion. Sometimes your models get so stinking good that you can add someone in a different location that can operate under your business name, okay? Do not think about expansion until you have mastered your systems in your world. All right, so a lot of people say, oh, well, I'll just get an agent up in Alpharetta. Don't do that until you've mastered the systems in your world. Why?
You won't be able to execute the other one.
Good. It is the biggest responsibility in your life to bring someone into your world. It is the biggest obligation to say, I want my world to be so big that you can achieve all of your goals by working with me. And if you don't live up to that, then you have turned into a fraud. Okay, so be sure your systems are in place to allow someone to have a really big life in your world. All right? The hiring path of an MREA agent. First level. In fact, we're not even going to have time to cover all of this. However, it starts with you. You do everything. Level 1, you are the CEO. You are the cleaner. You are the team cook. You cover everything for your business. All right, you are the maid. If you don't have a maid, you are the maid in your business. Okay? That is the first level. At second level, you bring on an admin. Now, there is a big step between you and bringing on an admin where you could add on some leverage. Add in a transaction coordinator. Add in a marketing person working part-time. You don't always have to bring somebody in full-time. Transaction coordinator, you would hire full-time after that. We then move into a lead management system. It just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. We're not going to have time to cover everything today, and yet that's what it looks like. You all have it in your book, right? It's step by step by step. Seventh level's right there. When you have eventually gotten to this place, where are you? So you've got a CEO running your business. Where are you in this picture?
In the Bahamas.
That's it. You're living the dream. You're coaching your CEO from the Bahamas.
There you go.
You know,
Maybe some other places too.
drinking a Mai Tai. Well, you've got a yacht, so you go wherever you want. That's the reality, my friends. That's what we're all pushing for. And you are all capable of hitting it. The only thing standing in the way of you getting there is you. Boom. So get yourself to that place. Not going to have time for any of that. All right. So what I desire for you to do is look at your organizational plan on page, what page is that? Keep on moving. Good. Page 29. Look on page 29. Who do you need to add into your world right now to achieve your goal? Right now it's you. Who do we need to add? You had a big goal.
Yeah.
Who do you need to add to achieve that goal?
Definitely an admin. I'm confused about roles here. What's the difference between a director of operations and like an executive admin?
Good. So a director of operations is someone who works on your business. An admin is someone that works in your business. A director of operations should be overseeing things, being sure that all the systems are running smoothly. An admin is someone who is doing the daily work to get stuff done. Like they're calling with their clients. They are setting up showings, that type of work. Okay? So who do you need to add this year to achieve your organizational goal? Just take a little bit of time and think through that. By the way, if it's still just you this year,
That's what I'm thinking.
well, at 3, you had a big goal. What was your number?
300.
300. You might have to have a transaction coordinator, not full time.
Right.
And yet you might need to leverage someone so that here's what, when you hire someone, it's because you are so busy doing your one thing, doing your lead gen, that you can hire someone to do the work that you don't love doing. When someone can specialize in something, that's when you can hire someone. And when you have the funds to cover it. All right? So it's when you're hitting at 300,000, do you really want to be filling out, doing all the paperwork?
No, not at all.
Okay.
That's my worst thing.
So that's what I'm talking about. Think about who we need to add this year and write it down.
I need a social media person.
Maybe.
You ready to know anyone?
Do you have an admin?
I used to.
Okay,
Yeah,
so I'm gonna say, before you have a social media person, unless it's just going to be like a contract basis, where
Yes.
don't bring on a full-time person until you have an admin in place, okay? People start making big decisions in their business, and businesses fail when you grow too big too fast. Follow the model, okay? We're gonna have this class again in October. I can go in deeper depth. Obviously, today we're tight on time. Yeah.
Quick question, so once you hire a transactional coordinator.
Yep.
Or transaction coordinator.
Or contract with the transaction coordinator if you don't want to bring them on full-time.
Yes, and you're ready to hire an admin, you get rid of the coordinator.
Depends. It depends on where your business sits at that point. If your admin is able to accomplish everything you're hiring them to do and transaction coordination, then maybe just tuck it into one admin. However, the next hire you're going to make is someone to just handle the transaction coordination, because your admin is going to be so busy doing all their other stuff they can't handle that part. Does that make sense?
Is there a job description that we could
Oh baby, it's forever. If you go on KW Connect and you just type in job description for X, Y, or Z, every single job description is out there. And you can use that, you can just take it, copy and paste, and put it on Indeed and start hiring talent. Yeah.
Could you have someone who is your admin and your transaction coordinator in one?
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Yes, you can. The goal is, though, at some point your admin is going to get so busy doing the other stuff that you're going to have to add on the transaction coordinator after that fact.
Okay.
Okay?
Because I think that I don't know what their differences is, so I'm glad that you asked that.
Okay, good.
Do we still have the transaction coordinators that you?
Sure. We still use them as our transaction coordinator, and we have an admin. So we have just leveraged it out so our admin can focus on their one thing. Okay? My friends, any other questions? There is more to this material, and yet you've been so generous with your time. Any other thoughts or questions? Awesome. That is 6 hours condensed into an hour and a half.
That was so great. Thank you.
I might have messed up.
Thank you.
My friends, I do have a request. If you go to KWU Eval, I'm working towards becoming master faculty at Keller Williams. There's about 50 of us out there. If you fill out a review of how the class went, I would highly, highly appreciate it.
Can you pull it up on the
I will pull it up. Thank you guys. I appreciate your generosity of time.
So I had GPA in my brackets. I haven't finished my second bracket.